Merry Christmas from my home to yours. As we enter into the holiday seasons, I thought that I would share some ideas with you about Christmas giving and some things that you can do with your family, whether you have a young family, if you have junior agers at home or teenagers, and even as an adult or an older adult, some things that you can do during the Christmas season to make giving fun, creative, and make a lot of memories. So the first age group I'd like to talk about is if your children are very young. Your toddler ages, even up to, first, second grade. There's not a lot of things and activities that they can do or give. They're not obviously making any money, but there are some things that they can do to share and to give, and you can teach them at a young age. So what we did as a family when our children were very young is we would make some little crafts, obviously with a lot of help, maybe using their handprint or a candy cane made into a reindeer, some cookies, anything that they could do to be a little bit of a part of. And then we would get them together and we would go to some seniors in our church, that it would help the children as they would go to see the seniors, would give them their gift, whatever, simple as it may be. But it allowed our children to go into the homes of these seniors and to kind of create a bond that otherwise they would not be making at church because they were in the nurseries or in children's churches and not really getting to know our older seniors in the church. And it allowed the seniors to spend a little bit of time with our little munchkins, and then our little munchkins to see the elderly folks in our church that really were our foundation. And it was a special time. Many of those folks have gone on to be with the Lord, and I have no regrets of having taken that time with my young toddlers and young elementary age children to meet some of these seniors and to be a part of their lives. And truly, they continued to be a part of their lives until they went to heaven. And so that is one area of age group that you can. It's not going to be a big activity in regards to a lot of giving, but it is a time and a very special memory-making time. The next age group is the junior agers. They're able to do a little bit more, able to withstand a little more travel, a little more time investment. And so what we would do is we would take as a family, not with the church Christmas caroling, but just as our family and maybe a extra guest or two to make it a little more fun, we would go to our neighbors, take a basket, maybe include a track from the church that would give the gospel. I have just purchased recently the candy cane track that the Roundup Ministries is putting out right now, the legend of the candy cane. So maybe I would stick that included with a candy cane, and put that in a basket with some cookies, little crafts that the children have made, something special. And then we would go to our neighbors, give them the basket, and sing a Christmas carol. Now, I would keep it very simple, short and sweet. We would sing one Christmas carol that the children would know, maybe Way in a Manger, and then end it with the second one would be We Wish You a Merry Christmas, because the kids could really sing that out loud and excited and knowing that they were headed back to the car. We would do that to our neighbors. It helped our children to become aware of someone other than themselves at Christmas time. I do remember a time when we were doing this and with our neighbor, and the gentleman came out with a $20 bill and said, "Here, you take these kids out for some hot chocolate." Obviously, that was not why we did it, but that was a really sweet time that they seen that their giving did mean something to our neighbors. And it's a time for you to be able to share when folks are they're readily available to accept a tract, accept some gifts, and you can be a good testimony in your community along with teaching your children to give at Christmas time. As they got a little bit older, we were able to do a little bit more financially. And so we challenged our teenage boys that at Christmas time, we would choose a family that we would give to anonymously. Giving is fun. And many times we get a reward when we give because we get to see the expression on their face, or they thank you, or whatever it is. And there is a little bit of satisfaction in that. And so we want our children to learn to give even when they would not be able to receive that gratification back to themselves. And so we challenged our boys to choose and to write down 3 different families that they would be interested in doing an anonymous gift for, and how much they would be willing to give toward that. Now, they all worked, they had money available, and we challenged them to do that. So we would sit down, we would each write down 3 different families. Many times these were folks from other ministries, maybe in our church family, but mostly it was other church ministries, maybe an assistant pastor's family, a youth pastor's family, someone that we knew maybe was having a tough time or was just getting started in ministry. And our boys knew these different folks, and they would choose themselves. They would put them in, then we would look at them, and then we would vote on which family we were going to choose out of the list that was given. And we would choose that family and put that money together. And then we would send that money anonymously. We would mail it not from our town, and we would do it in a money order so they would not be able to tell who it was from. And just knowing the joy that would come to that family during the holiday times to get something anonymously. And it really was a teaching time and a really fun time. And there were a couple instances when we did hear from through the grapevine where they were asking around, you know, who would have sent this and who would have sent this? And as a family, it was just fun to know that a need was met by our anonymous gift. So that's something you can do as a teenager with your teenagers. And then as an adult, there are so many other things that you can do now that our children are gone. There are other avenues that we can give. There are some ideas that I have and would love to hear from you of some of your ideas. As we get older, sometimes we really have everything we need and looking for a gift idea to do for someone else or some way else. And I have some of those ideas as well that I'll be sharing later with you. But I hope that you'll take this time as your family is growing, whether they be very little or whether you have teenagers or young adults living at home. Help this time to not be completely about themselves. Help teach them that giving can be fun, it can be creative, and we know that the Lord would be pleased. So these are just some ideas from my house to yours.